Good morning and welcome to Bay Area Focus. I'm your host, Michelle Griego. We are kicking off our show today with legendary percussionist Pete Escovedo, who famously helped bring Latin jazz music to a wider audience and has been a staple in the music industry for over 50 years. And he is here to discuss his memoir, My Life in the Key of E, which chronicles his fantastic career and the ups and downs it took to pursue his dream. It is such an honor for you to be here on our show.
Nice to be here with you.
So why did you write this memoir? There's so much in here to cover.
Well, I started thinking about it a few years ago, but because I've gotten to be now a senior citizen, officially a senior citizen,
No.
right? So I thought it'd be a good time to write about my story. You know, a lot of people know me as a musician and they see me on stage, but sometimes they don't know what the inside of me is. So I thought that would be cool to just express my views, my thoughts, where I came from, my family, the whole thing, and the music with it. So it's all in there.
Yeah, you write a lot about the music business and also about your family. We just saw some video of you playing with your daughter, Sheila E. And talk about growing up, because you did have some ups and downs in your childhood.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy beginning. It was kind of rough. Actually, I was born in Pittsburgh, Contra Costa, a small town. But we moved to Oakland when I was about 4 years old because my dad got a job at the Army base during the war. But during that time, him and my mom kind of had differences. They went through a lot of stuff. So the family was actually broken up after their divorce. And so we all kind of scattered in different directions. So we didn't all live together as a family for many years. So my youngest brother, Coke, and I, we were put in the orphanage for a few years because my mom couldn't take care of us. So that went through. I also lived in Mexico for a little bit with my grandparents. And I was kind of like bouncing up and down all over the place. So it wasn't a real happy beginning. You know?
And how did that influence you later in life?
Well, I recall one day when I was, my sister had come to visit us, and I remember we were on the ferry going to Sausalito. And I looked out there, and as I stood out there, I looked out and I said, you know what, I don't want to keep doing this, you know, the way it is. I gotta do something better for myself. I gotta find a way to do something that I really enjoy. So by the time I got to high school, I started painting, but then I got involved in music, and that just turned my head all around, and I went full force into the music business.
And so talented, and your family is so talented too. But in your memoir, you describe a point where you weren't sure if you wanted your kids to follow in your footsteps.
Well, because it's such a hard occupation, believe me, it's not an easy one. So I really didn't want them to follow my footsteps at first. But, you know, one day I turned around and they were like playing so great. I just said, you know what, I might as well have them in the band, you know. So, yeah, they started out playing music, and they're also talented. They've done so many great things. Of course, Sheila's well-known all over the world. I have two sons, Juan and Peter Michael, who still play in my orchestra. Yeah. And then my beautiful daughter, Zena, who just does everything. So,
yeah, you have a beautiful and very talented family. Sheila has been an inspiration to so many women getting into music because, especially with percussionists and drummers, that's usually a male-dominated field.
It is.
But she showed us women can do it and rock it.
Yeah, she's really somebody special. And it's true about, you know, actually laying the foundation for other women to become drummers and players, because truth that playing those instruments, especially the conga drums and Latin music, was in a sense forbidden for women to play. But now there's a lot of them that do play. So
in your memoir, you also talk about your close relationship with Latin jazz legend Tito Puente. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's my guy, yeah. We had a lot of fun together. I met him when I was about 18 years old, just starting out. And right away we clicked, and we had a very, very great friendship. I know his family, he knows my family, he even took Sheila under his wing and his godchild, and so we became very, very close friends. And I just loved him. I admired him so much, and try to be like him, you know. And but of course, I could never be as good as him. But
no,
yeah,
but you're Pete Escovedo, though. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
You also write very fondly about the Bay Area, too.
I love the Bay Area. This is home for me because, you know, my wife comes from Oakland. All the kids grew up in Oakland and went to school, got married in Oakland, the whole thing. And recently, well, not recently now, because we moved to Los Angeles where we live, and it's like about 16 years there now. But every chance I get, I come back to the Bay Area because I really like it.
And you're working a lot here, too.
I do. It's funny. I moved to L.A. thinking I'm going to move and work a lot in L.A., but now I'm working more in the Bay Area. So.
You know, you have worked with so many wonderful musicians, legendary musicians. We talked about Tito Puente,
Yes.
even your daughter as well. But Prince, you also shared the stage with Prince, too.
Yeah. It was cool because when I was with the Santana band, Tom Costa, who was a keyboard player then, brought Prince in, and he said, man, you guys got to meet this kid. He's really incredible, so I'm teaching him some things on the piano. So we said, okay. So anyway, we became friends. I brought him to the house one day, and that's when he met Sheila. And then they hooked up as far as he wanted to do a record for her. And then that started it for her. The glamorous life began.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
And telling us all about your story and your book. And to get your copy of My Life in the Key of E, just head over to PeteEscovedo.com. And you want to stay with us because up next we are celebrating a classic Bay Area location. We'll be right back.